Hi everyone, it's Yvette Le Blowitz from SPAITGIRL.com and welcome to the Spirit Girl Talk Show podcast. I'm super excited to be here with you today and with our guest who is Claire Aristides, who is a hypnotherapist. She's a visualization and mindset coach and the founder of Mindology App. Claire, welcome. How are you today?
I'm very well, very well. So nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this is great. Claire, I'm a big fan of your work. I love your app, which is full of incredible visualizations and meditations and many other things. But before we dive into that, can you tell our audience a little bit about who you are and what inspired your journey?
Uh, the short answer is probably good. In terms of hypnotherapy and how I came to have created Mindology, my journey started 20 years ago when my father became sick with lung cancer. And the prognosis was not good, and he was given 3 months to live. And a friend from in his golf club circle, actually said to him, Tony, I haven't told you this about myself, but I'm actually a clinical hypnotherapist. Let's do some things together. Anyway, what ended up happening is my dad did a weekly session with his friend. They worked on reducing the tumours. They worked on calming my dad down with the thought of, his own mortality. And what I saw firsthand is someone, a very Australian man, embrace something really, I suppose, a bit out there for a lot of people. And Dad went from 3 months to live, and he lived 2 years and 3 months. So, and in that time, he was really quite healthy. So it had a profound impact on me to see this idea of, being kind of in control of your mind, or using this as a tool or technique to manage your emotions and manage what you want for yourself, both mind and body. And then fast forward quite a number of years, and I was trying to have my second baby and having a lot of fertility problems. And I went back to what I call my good friend hypnotherapy, and I started to see someone at the time, and I still do. I have a online fine jewelry business, and I was so stressed and engrossed in that that I found it really hard to look after myself and put my fertility and my body and mind and body first. So working with my hypnotherapist, we ultimately, after 12 months, got to the goal of being pregnant with a baby girl. And I think it's also important to say, in both scenarios, with my dad and with myself, that both my dad continued with chemotherapy and radiation therapy, and I did IVF. So I never want anyone to think that I'm advocating hypnotherapy as an alternative to modern medicine. What I'm saying, what I like to encourage, is that I see it as a complementary therapy to kind of get you in the zone, get you in the mindset for whatever you might be going through, from terms of stress and trauma, to just dreams and goals and your vision for yourself.
Wow, Claire. Well, first of all, I'm really sorry to hear of the loss of your dad. That must have been so heartbreaking and so sad, and I'm sure all of our listeners can resonate with you in the grief of that. But you shared something there, that he was open to try hypnotherapy, which I guess, as a Aussie dad and an old school Aussie guy, that might have been seen as very like woo woo, but you saw a profound. Did you notice his mood was just more optimistic and positive, or it just helped him deal with the fact that he had this cancer that was terminal?
What two things happened for him. So first of all, and this is a really important differentiation between hypnotherapy and, say, meditation. Hypnotherapy is often we have a goal involved. So for him, his goal was actually visualizing his tumors and seeing them shrink. My goal was fertility, actually seeing and finding a healthy egg that would grow inside me and end up, giving birth to a child. So that's the difference between meditation and hypnotherapy. Hypnotherapy is often very meditative and calming, but there is that goal attached to where you want, to what you want and where you want to go for yourself. So for my dad, he had sort of this goal of actually feeling like rather than the cancer was ravaging him and the cancer was something he had no control on, he saw this as a tool that maybe I can use this to help me cope with. They did things like they did sessions on just seeing the chemo not affect his body so much. We know that chemo can have, be really, really hard on individuals. And so things like that. So it's kind of got a purpose to it, as well as being meditative and calming.
It's just really beautiful that he went from 3 months, which is a really short time span, to then 2.5 years extra due to all of the work he was putting in with the hypnotherapy and the treatment. But just to bide that extra time and to give it his all is such a blessed gift. And for you too, Claire, to be able to utilize the power of hypnotherapy with your infertility is such a gift. But for someone who's now tuning in and is still confused of like what a hypnotherapy session would look like or feel like, or what it really is about, can you share a bit more about that?
So, obviously every hypnotherapist will be different and have their different style, like a GP or any therapy person. But for my sessions, one-on-one sessions with myself, it's firstly identifying what that goal is. And often individuals come to you for 2 reasons. They don't realize, they don't word it like this, but ultimately, whatever the issue is, it can fall into 2 baskets. Firstly, stress, and then confidence and identity. So the stress might be drinking too much. Well, the symptom of stress: drinking too much, eating too much, biting nails, anxiety, can't drive, has anxiety driving somewhere or being in situations. And then confidence identity might sort of manifest itself with severe confidence crisis at work, meeting another partner, or romance. So you're working on an individual stress and identity is ultimately what's happening at a therapy level. So we first begin with identifying what the person wants to work towards, their goal, understanding their background, understanding about their family, about their situation. We ask medical questions. We get their GP's details in case we need to contact the GP or send them any information. And so gathering information, talking and building rapport with the individual, and then finally ending with guided visualization and actually putting the person into what's called a trance, which people hear that and think, oh, trance, what's going to happen? But you're actually in a trance all the time. You've probably been in a trance talking to me. So when you were really lost in my words, we go into a trance. So watching your favorite TV show and you're zoned out in the moment, or just driving home and you go, I can't remember sort of getting home, or looking out the window as you're traveling on a train, you're lost and sort of go into a hypnotic state. What the hypnotherapist does in this state is make suggestions using your words and your goals to change your thought patterns at an unconscious level.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That is so cool. That's amazing.
So if people think I'm scared of being in a trance, you've already happened. And they say that children up until 12, we're just in a hypnotic trance
Oh, wow.
as kids. Yeah.
And Claire, I've heard from a lot of people who have done hypnotherapy for things like wanting to give up cigarettes, smoking, and that they've found it so incredible. So it's something, if someone has a habit that they want to kick, they could utilize the hypnotherapy. You mentioned biting your nails when you're stressed, or if someone's picking, or anxiety or stress related, emotional eating, drinking. I guess it could be used for anything, couldn't it? Drug habits, all sorts of things.
Yeah, I mean, it's also something that is used by sports people, elite sports professionals, very, certain, I know certain performers, actors, musicians will use some form of, with the sports scenario, it's sports psychology. So it's working with a sports psychologist, and often there'll be self-hypnosis and affirmations and words that you use that the sports person will use to themselves to get into the mindset and the zone. So yeah, there's sort of you can work on habits, or you can work on overall limiting beliefs and mindset parameters that you might have put on yourself, and to break through. There's incredible ways that hypnotherapy can be part of your mindset evolution.
Yeah. Well, that's incredible. And I want to ask you next, you're the founder of the Mindology App, which has visualizations and meditations, and available to get in the App Store and things. What inspired you to create the app? And what is the app, actually? Maybe we dive into that a little bit more.
So I wanted to move on from meditation. I wanted a platform. My vision was really create a platform that takes meditation to the next level. And I want to be calm as an individual, but I'm a type of individual that also likes to work on myself, and in a nice way. It doesn't mean when you say work on yourself that you're not accepting yourself, but I like to just keep evolving and keep changing and empowering myself. And that's why I'm drawn to hypnotherapy. So I wanted a platform that kind of did two things. It gave individuals sessions and audios that calms their mind, but it also starts to help them work on their confidence, their self-beliefs, the narrative and the inner dialogue that they're constantly saying to themselves, which might be holding them back on being where they want to be. So really, Mindology was that kind of empowering your mindset and moving yourself forward in your life. There's a whole section which has workbooks as well to actually write down what you might have been saying to yourself and what you actually want to start to say to yourself.
Oh, that's incredible. And when it comes to visualization, if someone's never done it and they're thinking, I've got no idea how to do it, or what it is, or what are the benefits, can you share more about that for our audience?
Yeah, so a lot of people say when they hear visualization, they might say, I'm just not a creative person, I can't imagine things. But if you've ever watched a movie, or you've ever listened to a radio show that's describing, or someone's described something to you, and you pick that mental picture in your mind of, they might just be describing a house. Oh, it's a blue house with, green door, and there's, all of a sudden you're filling in the picture in your mind. And so that is very simply visualization. So any one of us can do it. It's not a skill you have or you don't have, because we actually, as humans, think and feel in pictures anyway. words and pictures. So visualization is really working out a goal, and it could be any time frame. It could be something for 3 months, 3 years, 30 years, and then starting to build the picture in your mind. And when you do that, two things actually happen. When you imagine the finished final goal, you start to get a feeling, is this what I want? You also start to see it as something kind of concrete in your mind, and your brain starts to go fill in the pieces, if you like, of the jigsaw to get you there to that outcome. Like you make a stake in your mind and in your mindset that this is what I want, and the brain goes, the mind goes, okay, well, we've got to fill that all in. And what happens then is the process to get you to that blue house or greenhouse that I said, it starts to fill in. So I'm going to have to start contacting real estate agents. Do you know what I mean? Like there's a it's hard to pick an example that will resonate with everyone, but your brain and your mind starts to fill in all the details of visualization. And when you bring in self-hypnosis and starting to really connect with the words that you say to yourself, you're steering your mindset rather than just waking up and going, right, I'm going to go to work, versus, right, I'm going to go to work and my ultimate goal is that blue house. And the brain working away at it at an unconscious level, filling in the details. And sure, you'll have speed bumps along the way, but it's sort of still steering your mind to where you want to go. And when I mean, say, speed humps, you might have days where you feel defeated, you feel lacked your confidence, you're negative. That is fine. It's then sort of picking yourself up and keep going towards the goal.
Yeah, because is it with the brain when it comes to visualizing, say that dream holiday you want to go on, or maybe you want to be a guest speaker on the stage, or whatever the goal might be, like you mentioned, a house in a particular area. When you spend time visualizing, is it that the brain can't work out the reality to the visualization? So if you're visualizing it, it thinks it's real and it comes into form. How does that work with the brain?
Well, there are numerous studies that have shown that when you so the experiments were have a group of people imagine something, which is say the visualization group, and then have a group that actually, so the one example is a group had to imagine playing the piano, and then a group actually physically played the piano. And the research showed that the exact same brain energy movement within the brain was exactly the same between both the groups. So the individual's brain, in theory, can't tell the difference between imagining playing the piano versus in reality actually playing the piano. So it's an interesting thought, and it's an interesting idea that if I imagine things, my brain actually doesn't know that I've imagined it. My brain thinks that it's reality. So if you can imagine it, what you're doing is setting down the blueprint at a neurological level of what you want for yourself. And sure, there's going to be speed bumps. Even the elite sports person, Serena Williams, she's lost at Wimbledon times, but she's still steering her mindset of where she wants to go. So I think sometimes people can feel really, feel like, well, I imagined it and it didn't come true. So it's not the secret. It's not just everything's going to work out. I like to say, think of it as using it as a tool and technique to steer your mindset about the ultimate goal of whatever that is for you, of seeing yourself. And rather than wake up for the day just letting all the stresses of the day take over you, even using visualization to set yourself as, I want to feel calm today. I want to feel contented. Just even little simple things like that, And we all know through COVID, we've all been pushed to our limits. So just on a really basic, fundamental self-care level, using visualization to just see how you want to end the rest of the day. Like how many of us wake up? I'll ask your audience, who wakes up first thing in the morning and says to themselves, right, at the end of the day, when I'm back in bed, I just want to have a calm, contented, whatever's thrown at me, I'll be fine day. And actually seeing yourself in bed that night, like going, okay, I'm going to have a really good night's sleep tonight. Could be as simple as that. And also, it's very important to stress repetition is really important. To repeatedly focus on these goals for yourself. It's just daily consistency sets you in the direction you want to go.
Oh, I love that, Claire. Thank you for explaining that for us and the audience, because I'm really big on visualization and I love it. Obviously, sports people have always visualized, winning the game or going through their movements. You mentioned tennis there, and they rehearse and rehearse. And I know a lot of motivational speakers even use the visualization, or people wanting to create their life. And I always say it's best for us to focus on what we want versus what we don't want. And I think in the global pandemic, we spend so much time on the focusing our brain and thoughts on what we don't want. So I love your app, the Mindology app, because it allows you to focus on what you do want. And I think that's a really positive thing. And just shifting even that small bit, like you mentioned then about having a calm day, that's just such a beautiful visualization, and to feel good, a great thing.
And it doesn't mean the day is not going to have its stresses, but telling your mind, the other thing is, I mean, you can use it to kind of be the master of your emotions rather than them controlling or leading you. So setting the tone that you want for yourself rather than, letting the day just onslaught to you. It's kind of saying, this is my mantra for the day. Whatever happens, I'm just going to be calm, I'm going to be confident, I'm going to have that inner peace. And I know, and I do want to, also mention, I mean, anyone with severe anxiety, bipolar, very, very serious mental health conditions, hypnotherapy isn't for those individuals. And there is definitely, the right therapy for those individuals. So it's important to recognize that some people do definitely, they can think all they like, and they can suffer from very significant and important anxiety issues and depressions, and hypnotherapy is not necessarily the road for that individual. So I would like to clarify that as well, because I have had people, with suffered from incredible anxiety, just said, it's not working, or they're paralyzed, obviously, with their mental health condition.
Oh, well, thank you for clarifying that, Claire, because that's helpful for the audience. On that note, so when it comes to visualization, obviously you're a fan of it, you do it, you also have a hypnotherapist yourself. When it comes to your self-care rituals, how do you take care of yourself, and what do they look like and feel like?
So I think for me right now, because I also like to normalize that things change for us. So what might have worked a year ago, you might have moved on for, or it's not as important. For me, I've really, really slowed down. So I am very much the kind of person that used to try and do 10 things in a week, like 10 important things or significant things, for me anyway, and now it's 3. I've really slowed down. I do things like sleep is like number one priority. So if I don't have a good night's sleep, I don't feel as well the next day, and I find myself tired and niggly and negative. I'm in tune much more with my body, and I'm aware of my menstrual cycles much more now. I just acknowledge that, okay, I might be feeling a bit funny this week, and rather than fighting it, I just go, okay. So I suppose self-awareness, sleep, and I've slowed down. 3 S's.
Oh, wow. I love that. Sleep is so important,
Mm-hmm.
critical to our well-being. Slow down, which I can truly resonate with, and I'm sure everyone who's tuning in has now had to master the art of slowing down due to the
Yeah.
pandemic. But it goes to show you, you probably felt this, Claire, how busy we were before the pandemic, how we were just
Mm.
running. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then do you do meditation as well, Claire?
So I have a morning, I get my my mantra mat out and I put on the app, and I actually start the morning. So without fault, every morning I wake up in bed. So as you're waking up for the day, your conscious mind. So another thing to clarify is we have our conscious mind and our subconscious, unconscious mind. So our conscious mind is, I've got to pay the bills, I've got to pay the mortgage, I've got to do the grocery shopping. Have I booked that email yet? Have I done this? Have I done that? That's our conscious mind. It's busy, busy, busy. Our subconscious, and to keep it simple, I'm going to put subconscious and unconscious together, is where what we unconsciously think. So that's where our beliefs about ourselves are sort of deep down within us. It's our blood, for example, is just it's just pumped around our body. We don't have to consciously go right heart, pump blood, or when you learn something for the first time, so you can unconsciously just jump on a bike now and pedal. When you were first learning, you're sort of very much in the conscious, learning the steps of jumping on the bike, learning your balance and so forth. So that's the real difference. So when we wake up first thing in the morning and we're still sleepy and groggy, our conscious mind hasn't quite woken yet. So that is a really, really good time to sort of say to yourself how you want to feel for the day, what you want for yourself. And I do a body scan. So I imagine this bubble moves. In this bubble, I put different ingredients in the bubble, like so if I've got something important, a presentation, I'll put confidence. I'll put maybe I've got lots of things to do, sort of time management and efficiency, and I put it in this bubble. And then I, like a body scan that pretty much all of us probably have done, just see it moving throughout my body and just relaxing me. And then I jump up for the day. And then I like to do a few times a week, sit on my mat, play the Mindology sessions, and do some stretches, and just really bring in movement with hearing words that resonate with me and are powerful to me. And there's one of the sessions on the app is a positive affirmations, and that's really tapping into, when I said earlier how we are visual and auditory individuals, humans. So that's tapping into the words that you hear. So it's important to choose words that really resonate with you and really connect to you, and you feel emotion, like you're emotionally tied into those words. So yeah, that's my sort of mind-body practice.
That is so good, Claire. I'm sure everyone's tuning in thinking they need to wake up in the morning and just do that body scan in bed and just really set their intention, which is such a beautiful way to start the day. Claire, a lot of people who have kids often say, I don't have time to take care of myself. I don't have any minutes in the day. There is a big shift and I guess movement as part of SPAITGIRL too, where even if you're a mum or a dad or a grandma or whatever your title is, that you have to carve out some time for self-care. Would you agree with that? It's so important to your health. You mentioned sleeping, visualization, but for you as a mum, I know it must be challenging, and also with your clinic, but do you just feel so much better when you take care of yourself?
Yeah, I know it is. It's like it's a catch-22. If you don't, you feel icky, and then you're probably less likely to want to do things. But self-care is so personal. It's for one individual, it could be cooking. For another individual, it's a big power walk or walking in nature. Other people love running, and I've been asked to do various articles on mindfulness and defining what mindfulness is, and I suppose it's good to say how that connects with hypnotherapy. So when you're cooking and you're lost in the zone, if you like to cook, or when you're on your power walk and you're in that sort of state of in the zone, it's actually thought that you're kind of cleaning your brain. You're re-energizing your brain. So for some people, it's knitting, coloring in. Why do you think so many people did the rosary beads? That is actually meditative, sort of repetitive, in the zone. I've heard of quite a few people say they've come back to cleaning, and not everyone. I don't like cleaning, but sort of really meditative, getting all the spots and like letting it out, not doing anything intellectual, just sort of and that technically is a definition for mindfulness. So find that kind of what gets you in the zone. So colouring in, knitting, reading, could be this isn't meditative as so much as the comedy sort of relaxes certain people, can relax you. So really going, what's on my top 5 things what that make me feel good about myself and relax me, and then how can I squeeze them into the week, or how can I fit them, schedule them in. I shouldn't say squeeze them in. How can I schedule them in? And I think for mums and dads with kids, we're seeing a huge increase in children with anxiety and stress and worry and all sorts of things. So put on the app with your child. Say, all right, we're all going to do colouring in together. Or
I love that. I love that.
Even start saying to them, mummy needs, this is mummy's mindfulness, time.
Yeah.
And I think it's normalizing it. It's seeing how your downtime is acceptable, and everyone needs to look after themselves. And what that looks like will vary for each individual, of course.
Yeah, I love those words of wisdom. Thank you, Claire, because I grew up, I'm so grateful for my mum and even my dad, but I grew up in the era, in the good old days, and I really feel that the global pandemic, one positive to come from it was at least it brought family back together, where I'm seeing, the mum and the dad with the kids going for the walk, or activities, whether I've heard people doing jigsaw puzzles and connecting without social media. And I feel that it really has brought family connection and unit back. But I too had learned, like, if my mum wanted to paint her nails or do her skincare or read a feel-good book or movie or watch the Oprah show or Bold and the Beautiful, which I still adore, but like we just got used to this is what mum does, this is what I do, this is what we do. We do it together. So I love the idea of the Mindology app and utilizing that together. And I'm hearing that more and more mums are saying, you know what, self-care is so important, and it's important for every male, female, child, that I have to set the example and be the example. So I think we're going to see a continuation of like you mentioned, sadly, young children are suffering with anxiety. And a lot of people I speak to, neuroscientists or psychiatrists or psychologists and all of the brain gurus say that, social media is addictive and it's a dopamine trigger, a bit addictive, like they refer to it as addictive as cocaine and things like that. And for a mind that's developing, the overwhelmment, all that bombarding with information and spending too much time, even as an adult, we can feel that. We can feel that stress and anxiety if we spend too much time on social media. So,
and actually zoning out, like if you're really honest with yourself, zoning out, looking at Instagram, isn't that actually, for me anyway, it's not that relaxing, or it's not that rewarding. Like maybe the first 5 minutes is, catching up on what's going on. But like, if, half an hour later and you're still on Instagram feeds or Facebook feeds or whatever, it's not self-care. It's important to realize you're sort of in the rabbit hole rather than that's not self-care. So it's very important to find self-care that actually relaxes your mind, and social media doesn't.
Yeah, I love those words of wisdom, Claire. Like yesterday was Self-Love Sunday, and I dived into a beautiful book, Self-Care for Tough Times by Susie Reading, who I'm going to interview also for the podcast show. But it was so therapeutic, so relaxing. It was such a beautiful book. And I would not get those feelings if I was looking at all the pictures and videos and the noise. And I love to do my self-care is a visualization or a meditation or, and things like that I find are more nurturing, or journaling and versus
a bath and a song in the bath.
Yeah, exactly. So I love that message. Social media is not self-care.
No,
and I think if
not.
we keep
The first
sharing
5 minutes, you might think it is, and then I know people have been on it for half an hour and they're still, we've all done it. We've all been caught by it. Yeah.
We all do it, because especially anyone, like everybody now who has a business or a therapist or an author or whatever they might be, has a social media page. So they feel really inclined to have to quick check the DMs, the comments, post new content. So you can get caught up in having to do it.
You've just got to have boundaries. You've just got to say, look at the clock when you look at it. We'll schedule. I think it's off the track on social media because I've still got my jewelry business, of course, and Mindology has an account. So it's scheduling as much as possible, and then I suppose the time limit, like actually going, hang on, I've done my post. Why am I still on it 20 minutes later? Get off. And screen time, you can get an alert on screen time. And that is actually, when you see the number of hours, that's like, wow. When you say, I don't have enough time in the week, and yet whatever, say something pops up, 10 hours on social media.
You're like, I could have done that 15-minute meditation 3 times a week, or even once a week. Now, Claire, I could talk to you forever about hypnotherapy, meditation, visualization, and how we can feel good from within. Thank you for sharing the journey. And your dad sounds like such an incredible Aussie man and father. That you had the great honor to be his daughter. I'm getting goosebumps as I say that.
Aren't you lovely?
But it's just really great, because Aussie guys don't generally, reach out for help or try different things. But I just feel that even sharing his story about his journey can help other men who tune in to the show as well. And thank you for sharing about your infertility as well, because I know so many of our listeners are struggling in that area. So it's kind of really nice to have a feel-good story that you found a way, as well as the treatment, but the hypnotherapy. And now, how can everyone stay in contact with you and find out more about you, maybe do a session with you online or get your app?
Sure. So yes, so I do one-on-one sessions. I'm based in Sydney, so they're in person, but then I do lots via Zoom. That's one thing with COVID. I think that everyone's accepting, more open to doing everything virtual. So I do virtual sessions with individuals. So my website is my name, Claire Aristides. And then Mindology has a free version on the App Store and Google Play. So you can download that. You just need to search Mindology. And then there's a premium version, but there's lots on the free version as well. And just follow me on Instagram for a little bit. Look at my page for a little bit, not 20 minutes after my big lecture earlier. Yeah, so Claire Aristides is on Instagram and Mindology.app is on Instagram as well. So yeah, I'd love to hear from everyone, anyone's comments, and I can help in any way.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Claire. It's been an absolute honor, and I'm super grateful to share you with the Spirit Girl community globally and the audience. I know that your app is amazing. It's so positive, feel good, and can really shift negative thinking and thinking about what you don't want to actually visualizing what you do want. And I think once we make that shift, for anyone out there, it just opens your life up to so many possibilities.
And I think we're overloaded, as we've alluded to now, that it's not, should I have kind of mindset tools for myself? It's what mindset tools should I have for myself? Because yes, COVID sort of screeched things to a halt a bit, but then it's raised anxiety, uncertainty, people's plans on hold, health issues, So it's kind of balanced, and so you must invest in, or I really encourage everyone to invest in mindset tools and techniques for themselves, to look after to their own mental well-being and their own mental performance and their own vision and goals for themselves.
Yeah, I love that, Claire, because I think I'm a big ambassador or believer. It all starts from within. Like, you have to put the daily effort in to take care of yourself, to focus on yourself. And we're living in times where people are so focused of everybody else that they need to come back to themselves and focus inwards and do the work and show up for themselves. Because if you spend, your day looking at, 500 different people and their lives, that's completely taken you away from working on your own goals, your own self, your own health. And when I grew up, as you know, Claire, I didn't grow up in an era where I was even thinking about 500 different people or 100 different people. I didn't know what the girl in Singapore was wearing, or the girl in Sydney, or the girl in Brazil, or the girl in London. So I didn't have all that noise. So I feel that
noise is a really good word for it.
If we can block out the noise and just come inwards, and I think do the work, and you can transform the way you feel from within and visualize your own life instead of worrying about everybody else's life. So on that note, we will say goodbye to our beautiful
Goodbye. Yes.
And,
thank you so much,
Claire. And
thanks
to our podcast listeners, we will say thank you to Claire Aristides.
Aristides.
Yeah, I got it.
Don't worry, everyone gets confused.
I got it. And you can stay in contact with Claire. I'll put all of the links in the post. I truly hope this show has inspired you to focus inwards, to believe that if there is a habit you want to kick, get rid of, and you're done, that you are open to giving hypnotherapy a chance, an opportunity, if it's suitable for you, which Claire has talked throughout the podcast show. I hope you're inspired to visualize your future and how you want to feel and what you want in your own life. And you're inspired to go on that nice trance that Claire spoke about and just get lost in the coloring in and lost in the knitting and all of those delicious things that you can do with your own family or on your own. So on that note, we will say goodbye. Thank you again for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to the Spirit Girl Talk Show podcast, to leave a rating and review, and to tell someone you love too. And together, let's feel good from within. Bye.